What is up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of DSM Pre Game Live. We are here to preview the New York Giants at the Philadelphia Eagles today. As you should know, if you're watching the show, if you follow DSM, this is a pretty big game for the Philadelphia Eagles. If you watch the NFL, this is a pretty big game for the NFL, for the NFC East, for the NFC in general, right? The Eagles can lock up the one seed in the NFC with a win today at home against the Giants. Obviously, we got Jalen Hurts returning. You had CGJ, Chauncey Gardner-Johnson activated, Robert Quinn activated off of IR. So the reinforcements are coming right in time for the playoffs. But before we get into all of that, guys, make sure if you see the little banner at the bottom of the screen there, hit that subscribe button on DSM Media's YouTube channel. That is where we're trying to grow our family, our community, and keep everybody intertwined, right? We want to hear from you guys. We want to hear the comments and your thoughts on every single thing that's going on in Philly sports, but also the entire sports spectrum around the world. So be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn the notifications on, and also want to shout out our sponsors over at Gents Barber Lounge. Be sure to check out gentsbarberlounge.com. You can book your appointment in Old City or Fishtown today. Excuse me, getting my two little boroughs in Philly mixed up there. But book your appointment at Gents Barber Lounge in Fishtown or Old City, one of the best barbershops in the Philadelphia area. I'm definitely going to be heading over there this weekend myself. I need to get myself a fresh fade, get back right for the new year as I go on this new journey to better myself. But nonetheless, yes, shout out to Gents Barber Lounge. Shout out to Luxodin.com. Be sure to use code DSM at checkout for 25% off and free shipping at Luxodin.com. Check out some of the jewelry on their website there. Thank you, man. My mom got that for me for Christmas. It's a little salute to service Eagles beanie. So I'm happy to rep here and happy to hear from you, military man. I'm glad you can. I'm sure you can appreciate it. Of course, it's a shout out to you. Salute to you, HP. So thank you for tuning in. Nonetheless, thanks for the early comments here. Let's talk about it, though. Let's get into this. There's not really a ton to talk about. Like, it's very straightforward, in my opinion, right? Like, the Eagles just need to win this game. There's no excuses. The Giants aren't playing their starters. You have your QB1 back, right? It's the last game of this. It's the last opportunity, right? You blew the first two opportunities that you had to lock this division up, to lock the NFC 1 seed up. So now, today, you have to do that. It's pretty straightforward, right? Looking at this, all the optics, Philadelphia comes in 16.5-point favorite. That line has moved to since Jalen Hurts was declared the starter. Obviously, the Eagles come into this one 13-3. The New York Giants 9-6-1. As I mentioned, Philadelphia clinches the 1 seed in the NFC with a win. Hurts, CGJ, Robert Quinn back from injury. Daniel Jones, Saquon, most of New York Giants starters not going to play in this one. And then you look at the last time they played. Obviously, it doesn't mean too much if the Giants starters aren't playing. Eagles won that one 48-22. So I expect the Eagles to win today. Very straightforward, right? But what I want to talk about is, first of all, how confident, how much of this do we feel is desperation? So is this desperation on the Eagles' end? Because you look on the other side of the field, right? You have the Giants starting a quarterback that's never started in the NFL. Obviously, they're resting Saquon. They're resting most of their starters. It almost feels like the Eagles shouldn't have to bring Jalen Hurts out in this one, right? Like, it feels like Gardner Minshew should be able to get this win. But based on what we've seen the last 2 weeks from Gardner Minshew, but specifically last weekend, you just can't go with that, right? You just can't ride that confidence with Minshew. It's just, you can't afford to lose out on that 1 seed. So my question to you guys out there is this desperation on the Eagles perspective, right? Are they just desperate to get that 1 seed and make sure that they lock that up? Or do you just think Hurts is ready to go? Like, would the Eagles really throw Hurts back out there if he was just 95% or 90%? I'm curious what you guys think out there. I'm confident that Hurts is healthy, first of all. I think that if it came down to it, Hurts could have played last weekend. I think Hurts could have played against the Cowboys, quite honestly. We watched him play the rest of that game against the Chicago Bears. It is a pain tolerance thing. Obviously, I'm not a doctor. I'm not Jalen Hurts. I can't say what he can play through. it's just a feeling that I have watching Hurts, knowing who Hurts is, hearing how the Eagles have talked about the injury throughout the process. I just have a feeling that Hurts wasn't ever really that injured after that shoulder sprain. Mind you, you have to be cautious with your franchise quarterback. That's what it has to be. MVP is ready. The Eagles got their ace in the hole back. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. No, not at all. They just want him fresh and not rusty in the playoffs. I think that's another great point, HB. And something I didn't even mention there is, you look at him. He goes out after that Bears game, right? 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, and he misses a game against the Cowboys in Dallas. He misses a game against New Orleans back home. They lose both of those games. So not only do you have to win this game to win the division and ultimately fulfill what you were meant to do, basically with a 13-3 record, right? But also you just don't want to go 5 weeks, 6 weeks, over a month without Jalen Hurts seeing live play on the field. So even if it's against the New York Giants backups, you can treat this as a preseason game if you like. You really can't, because you have to win it. It's not a preseason game. You can't be all nonchalant. But if you do things right in this game against the backups, you can see where maybe Jalen Hurts is out by halftime or after half. He doesn't have to play the second half. Gardner Minshew can go out and finish that game. I'll be honest, I'm not doing that. I think I need like a 3-score leash there, honestly, before I'm even thinking about that. And I think I would play Hurts at least the first half, just from a playing standpoint, kind of like what HP said there, just wanting him fresh and not rusty. Let him get some throws, let him get some RPOs running out there. Now, the one thing I will say, I'm not going out here and just running Jalen Hurts, into the middle of the field and getting him hit. I don't need him getting drove into the ground today. I get it. He's back on the field. Things are going to happen. He's going to get hit. But I think from a game plan standpoint, you have to minimize physical impact on Jalen Hurts today. Just give him another week, right? In reality, you would love to not have to play Hurts. You would have loved to have Hurts the last 2 weeks. Then he gets this week off to get some rest, right? Not being rusty from that standpoint. You don't get that. So now he does have to come out here. But from a standpoint of how you use Hurts, I get it. His legs, that's one of the biggest parts of his game. You can use him as more of a decoy at this point. Like, I feel, while you want to be fully confident that you're going to win this game, that's why you start Jalen Hurts, right? That's why you bring Jalen Hurts back from injury. You don't want to start Gardner Minshew. You just don't want to risk possibly losing with a Gardner Minshew to these backups. So I feel with Jalen Hurts, he can be so much of a decoy with his legs in the backfield that Miles Sanders should have a much easier role today, right? Running the football. He's going to have a ton more space out there, just because there's going to be players that are accountable for watching Jalen Hurts on those run plays. So, run him at all. I feel like it's inevitable for him to run. Like, I don't know, how much of the play calling, right? How much of a leash does Jalen Hurts get with the play calling? Because it feels like Jalen Hurts has complete control of the offense, right? Yes, he gets the plays fed into him, but when you see him out on the field, changing plays, opting into runs, out of runs, into passes, taking deep shots down the field when he sees matchups he likes, it feels like he does have full authority within the offense. Maybe Steichen and Sirianni take a little bit of that away from him today. I don't know if that's possible within a QB coach relationship, that you take those things away sometimes and give them back. But I'm with you. I don't know how, how much of Hurts' instincts can he really hold back when he just sees open space, right? And we can always see open space, but those holes fill up very quickly in the NFL. So that's the one thing where, it just kind of feels inevitable. But from that standpoint, like you said, I probably wouldn't run him at all. More of a decoy standpoint. You can still run the RPOs. I'm just handing it to Miles every time, right? Or I'm throwing it the quick slant to AJ or to Goddard every single time. Like, I'm not running Hurts in between the tackles. I'm not doing any QB draws, like that type of stuff today. It's just not worth it when you can beat a Giants team without it. This Giants team, their secondary starters on defense are not the New Orleans Saints starters on defense, right? that's not Lattimore and Cam Jordan on the opposite side of you. So you just, while you would need Jalen Hurts in a game against the Saints, as we could see obviously last week, this isn't one of those games. You're going against backups. You have Hurts, you have the starters out there to make sure you get this W, because there are no takebacks after this, right? You can sit Hurts out of that game against the Saints, and you still have a game this week that you can clinch. There's nothing after this. If you lose this game, you're playing next weekend, and that's worst case scenario for this team that needs to get Lane Johnson back as well in that with that bye week, right? So that speaks to the next question I was going to say. How important is that 1 seed? It's so important, right? It's almost unspeakable how important it is, and it's almost like people have tried to downplay it or tried to play it into like being a curse, being the 1 seed. That's best case scenario for any team that's going into a playoffs that has played a 17-game season, an 18-week season. They need a break. I mean, I get it. You don't want to be rusty. And exactly what HP said, you don't want to have 3, 4, 5 weeks off from playing quarterback. You don't want to do that. But a week off, a week extra break, a week extra to get your mind, your body ready for the playoffs. And then the next week, you get ready for your opponent. There's just nothing better than that. And I like what Patrick Mahomes said about it yesterday after they clinched the 1 seed against the Las Vegas Raiders. It's a free playoff win. You literally won your first round playoff game by winning and clinching the 1 seed. You don't play in the first round now. That is your benefit. That is what you get. You get to start up 1 in the postseason over the rest of the teams within your conference. And you have to take advantage of that when that is present, right? That is why this is so important. That is why Jalen Hurts had to play in this game. Even if he wasn't 100%, we need to get this W. Now, if I thought that there was a risk of Jalen Hurts getting re-injured, there's always a risk, right? If I thought it was a serious risk based on what I've heard throughout this whole time he's been out, then no, I wouldn't bring him back for this game, because I would rather have Jalen Hurts than have home field advantage from a black and white standpoint. But things aren't black and white, and I don't think this injury is as deep as everybody has made it out to be. And on the other side of this 1 seed, and the Eagles locking this up today, before I get into keys to victory today and get into X factors, predictions, best bets, talk a little bit about where these teams have ranked throughout the season, just from a holistic standpoint, you talk about narratives within the NFL. Why is it okay that the Kansas City Chiefs clinched the 1 seed in the AFC yesterday, and it's just some travesty that the Eagles are going to clinch the 1 seed today in the NFC? Why is that? Because the Chiefs didn't start out 2 weeks ago with 13 wins with their starting quarterback? Like, is that like, I just, it's been funny to hear all of the narratives thrown around about this Eagles team not being able to clinch until the final week of the season. And we're just watching around the league, and everybody else is clinching this weekend too. Like, it's not just the Eagles. So it's just funny how teams are talked about. It's how narratives are driven, because it's like the Chiefs did this otherworldly thing yesterday, clinching that 1 seed in the AFC. Whereas today in the NFC, Eagles clinch, well, they were supposed to do that. No, the Chiefs were supposed to clinch. The Eagles, yeah, they're supposed to clinch, and they're going to. They're going to. You can't just sit here and minimize the fact that their starting quarterback went out, man. Not everything, and I get it, in Philadelphia gets really, really hyped up because Nick Foles won the Super Bowl, right? And you had Cooper Rush in Dallas earlier this season that kept them afloat while Dak was out. That's not every backup quarterback situation. That just doesn't always happen. I get it, and I fed into it. Don't get me wrong. I sound like a hypocrite right now. I am being one, because I simply thought Gardner Minshew could be better than what he was with the weapons that the Eagles have. And he doesn't have the mental makeup, from my perspective, to be that guy, even of a Nick Foles stature, right? So we sit here, we see Nick Foles come in, he takes us through this stretch, wins us a Super Bowl, and it kind of just misconstrues your imagination of what a backup quarterback is. And then you see like Mike White over in New York Jets, you see Cooper Rush come in for the Cowboys. It just doesn't work out like that all the time. Taylor Heineke coming in for Wentz. It just doesn't happen a lot. And you see that with Gardner Minshew. You need your leader in there. There's so many things that feed into chemistry within a team. You see that now. You can't discount what Jalen Hurts means to this team. And that's what I mean. Over these last few weeks, it's almost like the Eagles' star quarterback that was leading the MVP race wasn't injured the last 2 weeks. Like they've lost with their starting quarterback. I get it. Everybody in the Dallas game, they point to the defense. The defense gave up 40 points, this and that. Then to the New Orleans game, it's like, okay, well, the defense only gave up 13 points. Maybe the Dallas offense is just really good. Maybe if Jalen Hurts is in that game, it's still a shootout. That's fine. But the game is different with Jalen Hurts. That's all we need to say about it, and that's reality. Let's see what we got here. It's a blessing for y'all. Y'all are a little banged up right now. Give your starters the edge. Get some rest. That's scary out. Exactly, man. You need the rest time. That number 1 seed is crucial, right? Just think about it. I mean, do you like if you are an Eagles fan and you lose the 1 seed today? Let's just say, because that's all that ESPN and NFL Network have been hypothesizing is the Eagles losing today and the Cowboys getting somehow into the 1 seed or the 2 seed. So let's say the Eagles, right? They lose the 1 seed, they get shot down to the 5 seed. Now they're playing in Tampa wild card weekend in the playoffs. First of all, I don't want to play Tom Brady in Tampa the first weekend of the playoffs. I'll pass on that. We did that last year. That would be a major step in the same direction, right? Like we're staying stagnant. That's not a step in a positive direction. So you look at it from that perspective. Okay, so let's say we beat the Bucs in Tampa Bay. So now San Fran is the number 1 seed. Now we're traveling to San Fran. You want to play San Fran in San Fran? No, I would rather San Francisco travel across the country and come play the Eagles in Philadelphia in the cold. That's what I would rather. The Cowboys, if they get the 1 seed, you want to go down to Dallas, AT&T Stadium? You want to play in Jerry World with Jerry's refs? I'm good on that. Make the Cowboys come up to Philadelphia. That's where I'm at. That's what the Eagles need, and that's why this game is so, so important. He gets further injured, the media would crucify him. Yeah, that's kind of what it is. Yeah, and then on the other side, you get praise for clinching with the backup quarterback. It just didn't work out. It didn't work out. It's as simple as that, right? Hurts is a game changer. It shows. Yeah. The last 2 games, yeah. You just see certain points in the game with Gardner Minshew where he gets out of the pocket, right? There's open space. He's like looking around frantically because he just doesn't have the speed to get out of the pocket and pick up yards, right? Whereas I think back specifically to that first drive against the Cowboys, and I'm not saying, once again, I'm not giving excuses for that Cowboys game, saying we lost because of this, that. We lost with our backup quarterback. That is what it is. Same thing the Cowboys did in Philadelphia earlier in the season. It's not about that. On that first drive, I think back to it specifically because A.J. Brown, I believe he got the big catch on the first drive. He ends up not being able to outrun Trayvon Diggs, catches him down in like the 25, 30-yard line. And I remember it's 3rd down, and Gardner Minshew gets out of the pocket. I hope it wasn't an RPO. They run RPOs with Gardner Minshew. I don't know why. It was probably a play action. Let's just say it was a play action. He gets out of the pocket. The first down's there. He could get there. Micah Parsons just hawks him down. And that's just not happening with Jalen Hurts. Whether that is that situation wouldn't have happened because of Jalen Hurts, maybe he doesn't even have that space. But if he doesn't have that space to the outside, that means somebody is filling that space and taking an extra defender off of another skill player. So it just changes the entire game, right? So even if you say, oh, well, Jalen Hurts wouldn't have the same defense schemed against him. Right, you can't scheme the same defense against Jalen Hurts as Gardner Minshew. That's the point, right? So like that, yeah, it's a great point, man. Hurts is a game changer. We're going to see it today, I believe, honestly. Even if you use him as a decoy today, you're going to see the game changer that Hurts can be. Back to clinch the win. And it's awesome. It's an awesome narrative for Hurts. It honestly like builds his MVP candidacy even further. Like this was like a blessing in disguise, kind of like you said, for us to see it ourselves. Everybody, not just Eagles fans, see this team without Hurts, but national media as well. Because national media, they're the criminals that have been saying it's just the team around Hurts, right? So it's a blessing in disguise, just from Hurts' perspective, for everybody to see. I'm that dude, right? Like I am the system. I'm the guy back here manning this ship. And nobody can fill those shoes, right? And I'm sure Hurts doesn't want to feel like that. He's not looking at it from that perspective because he's a humble guy. He's heads on his shoulders the right way, right? His eyes on the prize. He's not worried about this other stuff. He's not worried about what people say. But I do think it's just a good thing from the outside perspective, as far as narratives that get driven around. You get to debunk those right there. And don't let Hurts come out here and throw for 303 tutties in the first half against some backups, man. I don't care. I'm going to be fired up. I'm going to be fired up regardless today because we have an opportunity to clinch the 1 seed in the NFC. We literally haven't done that since we won the Super Bowl, man. That's how rare it is. That's how big of an opportunity we have right here today. And you have to take advantage. You haven't taken advantage the last 2 weeks. It's time to take advantage. Lock it up. Sorry, HP. We got to put the Cowboys, lock them in second place in the NFC East. We can't have back-to-back division winners. That's just that doesn't happen in the NFC East. We don't do that back-to-back. We might be the first next year, though, right? I'm biased, though. I'm biased. We have to lock it up this year. We'll start there. Let me take a sip of my Jack and Coke, man. My mouth is getting dry. Cotton mouth. Jack and Coke get you right. Gets the nerves right. Because you just never know, man. You never know. Get the nerves right. Once the Eagles score their first touchdown, my nerves will relax. I'll be smooth sailing. But after these last 2 weeks, you just never know, man. No matter what, just winning the division is a big. That's a great point as well. That's something to celebrate as well, especially when your division has 3 playoff teams. Once again, thank you for the facts. You're spitting facts, D-Rav. Cowboys are frauds. Hey, man, come on. That's no fun, HP. That's no fun going into the playoffs. Come on, the Cowboys have had a great season. We just got to see Dak, man. Dak got to stop turning the ball over. We're going to talk soon, I'm sure, HP. But come on, get the confidence going, man. We need it for the playoffs, that matchup that it feels like it's inevitable, right? If you can take care of business in Tampa, it's inevitable. The Cowboys coming to Philly to play the Eagles. Jack Daniels, what's up? I mean, come on. I drink you all the time. Pause. All right, man. Let's get into keys to victory. They're very simple. We got about 5 minutes here to end the show. First key to victory, Jalen Hurts. Duh. He changes the game. We talked about it the entire show so far. He is your first key to victory, having him out there, even if it's just a decoy in the running game. You're going to watch. Lanes are going to be open for Miles Sanders that we have not seen the last 2 weeks. Miles Sanders is going to be jubious, right? He is just going to be so joyful to have Jalen Hurts back because he's going to have lanes now, right? Can't stack the box against him. None of that. You have to watch out for Jalen Hurts. They might stack the box, but it's going to be against him and Jalen Hurts. A lot of eyes on Jalen Hurts and his legs. It's going to be a fun time, but Jalen Hurts is the first key to victory. I really like this hat. Like, thank you, Mom, for Christmas. This was a great hat. I need division championship hats, and then I need NFC championship hats, and then I need Super Bowl champions hats. I need some new hats. That's all I'm saying this spring. Cowboys the same team. He's watched Dak too long. That's the argument. That's the argument, Hunter. Never too late to change a narrative is what I would say. I'm hoping he doesn't, but it's never too late. We want yeah, there we go. You on the same page, man. Next key to victory. This isn't even a key to victory because guess what? Don't only win this game. Win this game by a lot. Get up early. Get up big early. That is the next key to victory because health is your key to victory in the future. You need to come out of this game at least as healthy as you went into it. We cannot afford any major injuries today in a game against backups, right? So go out here. Don't only win. Get up big early. You come out full force. You punch them in the mouth. You knock them out, and you get Jalen Hurts and company out of that game. And we get out of here, and we're chilling until divisional round of the playoffs, right? So health is the next key to victory, not just today, but going forward. Keep your guys healthy. The final key to victory here, put the pressure on. We know what the Eagles have been doing the last few weeks as far as their defensive line, the pressure they've been putting on the quarterback. Some people have tried to say that this is like some like fraud type of system where guys get sacks, but it's like fraudulent defense. I'm not hearing that. They gave up 13 points last week, guys. Put some pressure on the backup quarterback for the Giants today. I believe his name is David Webb or something like that. I mean, I really don't care. I don't care what his name is. Put him on the ground, put him in the dirt today, and let's break that 85 Bears sack record, man. I would love to break some records today, right? But that is my final key to victory. Put some pressure on. Let this defensive line loose. Let this front four get after the quarterback. Obviously, Josh Sweat's not going to play today. Maybe Robert Quinn back activated. I don't know how soon he gets back on the field. Maybe he gets rotated in there. But Hassan Reddick, Milton Williams, I really like him today. Get these guys involved early. Let them loose. Let them go after the quarterback. Force some turnovers. Talk about getting up big early. That's how you do it. That's how you force turnovers early. You get touchdowns early, and you put them away. You knock them out. As far as X factors on offense and defense, I've already talked about all of them, right? Offense, it's Jalen Hurts. We're going to pound that into the dirt today because he's back. He is the MVP of the league. I get it. Patrick Mahomes is going to win it, but he's only going to win it because Hurts missed games. And I'm dying on that hill. I'm dying on it. And the real truth is that Hurts should still win it because you see how bad the Eagles were without him. That's a conversation for a completely other day. But nonetheless, X factor on offense going to be Jalen Hurts. X factor on defense, it's going to be the entire defensive line. I would love to see a pick today, a pick six from Darius Slay. Slay, show me some life, man. Show me some life, big play, Slay. Make a big play for us today. But I'm going to defensive line because that's the easy choice, man. This defensive line is playing out of its mind. I get it. Josh Sweat a little beat up. You still got a number of guys out there that can rush the quarterback. It is good to hear that Josh Sweat says he'll be back this season. I will say that. He's having a tremendous year. I'm not trying to downplay that. Milton Williams is my guy today. I think he gets a sack, maybe a forced fumble today. I just really like when he gets his opportunities, he makes the most of them. It seems every time he gets to play, you literally end up hearing his name, right? Does Sirianni make a farther push for Coach of the Year with a 1 seed today? Yeah, I think the simple answer to that question is yes, because if he wanted a chance at winning that award, you can't lose this game today. You have to get the 1 seed. So, yes, if he wins the 1 seed today, it would definitely help his stance. What I would really say, though, if you're not sold on Sirianni being the Coach of the Year by now with the Eagles having the best record in the NFL for most of the year, ultimately they do end up, locking up the 1 seed in the NFC today, locking up the best record tied for the best record in football today. If you're not sold on it by now, then you might just not be sold on it. You might want to just go with Brian DeBoer, who takes like a lesser talented team and gets them barely into the playoff. Like, I get the narrative. It's just about narratives at a certain point. So, like, I get that narrative. You want to give it to, Brian DeBoer or maybe Dan Campbell if he gets the Lions to the playoffs somehow. Like, I get it. But at the same time, why didn't you give Nick Sirianni Coach of the Year last year when he was the rookie head coach taking his team to the playoffs? So it's about narratives. Do I think Sirianni's going to get it? Probably not. I just a Philly thing. I mean, we just don't get awards for some reason, even though we do deserve them sometimes. But nonetheless, I think it would help his case nonetheless. Definitely would hurt significantly if you lose this game and lose the last 3 games of the season to fall out of the 1 seed. So, I would, to answer that simply, I would go with, that would help him out a lot. Prediction for the game before we get into best bets, how I'm feeling. You can probably tell how I'm feeling throughout the show. This is a Birds W, man. They're going to win this game. Should he? Yes. Yeah, I feel you. I just think he's been the best coach this year. Like, he's had the best team for most of the season. I don't know. just think it's kind of simple. I think we kind of overthink those things sometimes. And that's in all sports, quite honestly. It's usually just about narratives. And that's what sports awards are turning into. Like, did he play with this, or like did he play with that? Like, who did he have on his team? Who was like on his coaching staff that was helping him? It's not about results, it's not about production, it's more about narratives and in reality. Um Prediction, Eagles taking care of this one. I think they take care of it early. I'm looking for a big win. 38-7 is my score. Give up one score, maybe it's 38-3, maybe 38-0. I don't know. They shouldn't get many points with this secondary squad, and defense should look to come out, make some noise. Maybe they get a score against our secondary squad, right? When they come in, the backups for us come in, they can get a score then. 38-7 is the score I'm going with. Really, it's not about the score. It's not about getting to 38 or like matching the Minnesota score, right? From the NFC Championship. It's not about that. It's just about putting this team away early, not giving them any type of chance to win this game, and you locking the game up early enough to get Jalen Hurts out of it without injury, get the rest of these starters out without injury. I think the other coaches held him back on getting Coach of the Year, TBH. It's fair. I mean, yeah, like we let too many games get close, and it's not Nick's fault. Yeah, the coordinators, right? The Gannon, the way he played Dak in that game. You look at last week, Steichen just not running the football. How much of that is in Sirianni's control? It's all in his control, but how much does he have that delegated out, right? How much influence does he have on those decisions? Yeah, I get it. I get it. Because you can look at coaching last two games as the reason maybe why this team hasn't been able to win with Gardner Minshew. To be clear, I think he deserves it, but that's why I think he's not the clear favorite. Yeah, and to be fair, I'm not trying to say that Brian DeBoll doesn't deserve it for getting the Giants to the playoffs. I'm not trying to say that Dan Campbell doesn't deserve it for getting the Lions to the playoffs, or whoever you want to mention on the AFC side. Doug Peterson, I've seen him mentioned. It's not that they don't deserve it. It's just that how do you equate them deserving it more than the guy that's coaching the best team in football in his second year of coaching? I don't know. It's like you can't really compare them. It's just about narratives, whichever narrative you like more. And I like the one where the team wins more games. So that's just me. I'm biased. I'm an Eagles fan, so I think Sirianni should win it too. But there's plenty of deserving coaches out there. A lot of these coaches work their ass off, and as long as you're not like a Nathaniel Hackett, then shit, maybe you deserve Coach of the Year, because who knows what the Broncos could have done with just a half decent coach or an average coach. I feel you, I feel you, D-Rab, because like last year, you took the team before Sirianni came and you made them a playoff team too. So like Sirianni, if we're basing it off Doug Peterson's standards, if Doug Peterson was to win Coach of the Year with the Jags this season, why didn't Sirianni win it last year? You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm getting at. It's just about narratives, and it's something with like Philadelphia too that it's the curse. Second half of the season, last year adjustment. Yeah. Exactly. I'm for the right person getting what's deserved. Yeah, exactly. Whatever works, man. Everybody, there's several coaches that deserve this award. So I'm not going to lose any sleep. That's not what I want for Philadelphia, right? Like, I'm sure that would be great for Sirianni. It would give him a little bit of confidence, a little bit of credit. But we want Super Bowl rings at the end of the day, man. I'm sure you can relate to that for real. But prediction, Eagles win today. I'm trying to bring as much energy as I can. I'm kind of to this point where just get it done. Like, get it done. This should have been done 2 weeks ago. Get it done today. I shouldn't have to, go balls to the wall for you guys to get a W today. Let's get the W. Let's lock our place in the playoffs. Let's get this bye week. Let's chill for the next 2 weeks. Watch everybody beat the hell out of each other in the wild card round, and then we come in fresh in the divisional round to take names, right? Best bets of the day. I don't have a graphic for you. As I mentioned, my guy Dylan, he does do the graphics for the show most of the time for the best bets. So he's a little out of it right now. So no graphic, but nonetheless, I do have some best bets for the game for you today. Devontae Smith over 62.5 receiving yards at -110 on FanDuel. That was the last time I checked. It was about an hour ago. So definitely check there to make sure. The reason I'm going here with 71 scrimmage yards by Devontae Smith today, Eagles would have the first trio of teammates 25 or younger to each have 1,200 plus scrimmage yards in a season. A.J. Brown right now has 1,401 receiving yards. Miles Sanders has 1,000. Oh, excuse me, scrimmage yards. Miles Sanders has 1,314 scrimmage yards. Devontae Smith has 1,129. He needs 71 to hit that 1,200-yard mark. And then they complete something in NFL history that's never been done before. And we know how much narratives feed into what happens in these games. So do I think the Eagles, if they have the opportunity to go Smitty's way today, I think they do it, and I think they do it a lot. So I love Smitty to get over that 62.5 mark. I love Smitty to get over the 71-yard mark as well, right? Around 75 receiving yards, maybe more, who knows? But nonetheless, I expect Smitty to be involved today. It's against my better judgment, but as I mentioned, Jalen Hurts, his instincts kick in at some point, right? He's just a winner. He likes to win games. His instincts are going to kick in. He's going to use his legs. He's going to scramble for a touchdown today. I'm just hoping he doesn't get hit on it. But he will get in the end zone because he just has a knack for that. So I have Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown today at plus 125. As I mentioned, that was about an hour ago. Checked on FanDuel. Jalen Hurts anytime touchdown. He has over 10 rushing touchdowns this season. I get it. You don't want to run him. Like I said, I would use him as a decoy for most of this day. But I think those instincts, when you get so close to that goal line, it's going to be instinctual. It's going to be natural for him to just want to go and put that ball across the goal line. I think Jalen Hurts gets in the end zone with his legs today, nonetheless. The next guy, it's another anytime touchdown for you guys, and I love Boston Scott, the giant killer. Of course, you can go Miles Sanders. I think he gets his opportunities today. His touchdown minus 110. Boston Scott touchdown plus 310. I'm going with Boston Scott. He scored in the last game against the Giants. And once again, narratives. I get it. Not everybody feeds into the narratives, right? The Chiefs tried to get Travis Kelce that touchdown yesterday. I know I called that on Best Bets yesterday. He did not get it. Fell just short at the 1-yard line, which I know he was blown. Teams feed into narratives. Good coaches feed into narratives. They want to reward their guys. I think today, Nick Sirianni, he rewards Boston Scott. He is the giant killer. Boston Scott gets in the end zone today. He's going to get a lot of carries in the second half, I believe. As I mentioned, I expect the starters not to play the full game here. I think Boston Scott gets a nice workload today. He gets in the end zone, and he reclaims that name, the giant killer. Love Boston Scott. Not a best bet. Just want to be clear. Philadelphia defensive touchdown, special teams, whatever you want to call it, plus 550 to score today. That's another thing. I think that this defensive line can get after the quarterback, force some turnovers today, whether it's an interception, fumble recovery. I think the Eagles defense could end up scoring here today. Not a best bet, just if you're feeling froggy, want to bet something a little wild, plus 550 for the Philadelphia Eagles special teams defense score. But best bets of the day, official best bets, three props. Devontae Smith over 62.5 receiving yards at minus 110. As I mentioned, only 71 yards from that record of a trio with over 1,200 scrimmage yards in a season under the age of 25. Hurts anytime touchdown. He's back. He's the MVP. Instincts are going to kick in. Like we've been talking about all show. We're not going to drive him into the ground today. Instincts are going to kick in for a guy like Hurts who just wants to win games. He's going to get close to that goal line. He's going to put the ball across it. He's going to use his legs to get a tutty today. Hurts anytime touchdown plus 125. Boston Scott, the giant killer. Shout out to my man Mark from Twitter. Let me get his at name because he did call this first. I want to give credit here. Just to be fair, I was going to lay the Boston Scott touchdown no matter what, but I do want to give my credit to Mark. And of course, my phone dies middle of the show. Mark, I just don't want to say his name wrong from Twitter. I'm going to have to shout him out to the show afterwards. But nonetheless, Boston Scott, anytime touchdown, plus 310. He is the giant killer. And then if you're feeling wild, outside of the best bets, Philadelphia, anytime touchdown with their defense or special teams, plus 550. Those are going to be your best bets of the day. We got the Eagles dub. They're going to clinch this 1 seed. We're going to celebrate. We're going to have a little Jack and Coke and keep it moving, man. Get ready for the playoffs. I will be back tomorrow to recap everything that went down this weekend. We'll talk a little bit about how the playoff picture, the official playoff picture, is looking. And then next weekend, me, Dylan, and myself, we will be back to preview the full wild card slate for you guys. But let me just say this. It's been an awesome season, guys. Eagles pre-games will not be stopping with the regular season. We will continue those into the postseason. But nonetheless, it has been a hell of a season, right? Getting to do these Eagle pregame shows. It's our first time doing it full time for every single game. And look, the Eagles are about to clinch the 1 seed. So maybe we should just keep doing this more often, guys. Maybe we should always meet up here every Sunday, even when the season's over. Just talk it out. Make sure the vibes are right for next season as well. But we don't have to worry about next season right now. We got some more games to be played, some more noise to make. It's been a hell of a season nonetheless. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'm not going nowhere. I'm just saying this is a celebration today when they clinch that 1 seed, hoist that number 1 seed in the playoffs. It means something, even though other people, other fan bases will tell you it doesn't. That's because they don't have it. Guys, go Birds. Have a great rest of your day. Happy Sunday. Go Birds. Let's get the W. Just win, right? Just win. That's where I'm at right now, guys. Just win. Go Birds, guys. Have a great rest of your Sunday. Peace.
One-on-one.